Well, the answer to this is pretty much the same as why you'd protect intellectual property in the real world, and that is to avoid somebody else using things which you've recreated or the signs that identify your products and services on the market. The fact that this will be happening in a virtual world, or that the creations or goods and services identified by the signs are digital representations, will actually make little difference. These creations and signs will still need to be protected. So protecting reduces the risk of copying or of passing something of yours off as belonging to somebody else. Getting this sort of protection is really vital, whether it's in the metaverse or not. Trademarks are signs which are used in trade to identify products or services. They distinguish you from your competitors as being the business origin of these goods or services, and therefore they allow your customers to pick your products out or request your services. Trademarks have to be distinctive, and the goods and services whose business origin that they'll identify have to be clearly defined at the moment that the mark is filed. A design is about the way that something looks. It's the appearance of the whole or part of the product, so including lines, contours, colours, shapes, textures, materials, everything to do with the product. Designs have to be novel, and they have to have individual character at the time of filing. The protection of the design isn't limited to a certain product, even though it has to be indicated in the application in which product the design is intended to be incorporated or to which it's intended to be applied. So depending on what you want to protect in the universe, you'll have to choose really carefully which one to use. The obvious answer here is with an EU trademark registration, but there's quite a lot more to it than that. You're going to have to decide what type of trademark you want to apply for, first of all, because trademarks can be an awful lot more than just a word or words. So you can also apply for figurative marks, and these contain or consist of figurative elements, but also there are shapes, sounds, multimedia marks, as well as colours, patterns and motions. You'll also have to work out what you want the mark to protect, as this will be the basis for your list of goods and services. If these are digital goods, this will have to be indicated, as for trademarks these aren't actually treated in the same way as physical goods. An example of this would be digital clothing. This is actually just a representation of clothing which may be used by an avatar in the virtual world. And so it isn't the same as the kind of clothing that you get up and put on in the morning. So here you could apply for an RCD, a registered community design. There are also national design registrations and also unregistered designs, which could also be an option for you. Now, contrary to trademarks, these can't be verbal elements or colours or sounds, but they can be an awful lot more than that. They can include icons, and these can be static or dynamic. They can include animated characters or holograms, or displays, projections. They can include video games or virtual interfaces, or voice user interfaces, or virtual spaces. Now, the majority of these obviously can be intended for use in a virtual environment such as the Metaverse. Now, as I've mentioned, with a design, which is the appearance of the whole or part of the product, you have to indicate the product that it'll actually be incorporated into. And if you will be using a design in the Metaverse, it's better to provide at the moment of filing both a physical and a virtual product indication for your design, even if it's only intended for use in a virtual environment. The number of applications we've had at EUIPO for Metaverse-related trademarks and designs has been steadily increasing. We've seen designs, applications for virtual trainers, for example, These were applied for both as footwear and also as screen displays. So the look of the trainer is clearly intended for both virtual and physical use. As far as trademarks are concerned, there have been a lot of applications for virtual goods, and some of these could be protected by non-fungible tokens, by NFTs. These NFTs work as a sort of digital certificate of authenticity. But if you're applying for virtual goods, you'll have to specify exactly what the goods are, so that the trademark is actually clearly defined. Now, one of the applications that we've had, for example, is for virtual mouthwash. So whoever knew that avatars in the Metaverse could suffer from bad breath?